Alright, so this is really an emergency update we've got going on for JASMY right now. We've hit my third price target. If you haven't been watching my videos, when we were in this descending triangle slash bullish pennant, I was talking about my three price targets, 2.5 cent, 2.3 cent, and 2 cent respectively. I only had 2 cent on the table for the past couple of days, but we have come down to it. Bearish momentum was telling me we're coming down to it. On the daily, we saw an absolutely crazy influx of volume, and we've been pulled down to my final price target. So now we're down here at the last line in the sand, the 786 Fibonacci, the 2 cent. What's going to happen now? Let's talk about it. So looking at these momentum indicators, it's really still not looking good. This is the point where we kind of needed to see these start fading into dark red if we wanted to hold it. Momentum is still very much in the hands of the bears, and selling volume is not looking good. While we haven't had a crazy amount of selling volume coming in today, we really could be setting up for, you know, an absolute cusp of a fall through the 786 Fibonacci. So before I get into to everything, just know as long as we hold the 786 down here at specifically 0.019, as long as we hold that, then I don't flip bearish. This is an emergency video to tell you what happens if we don't hold the 786, because it can get very, very ugly. And in my opinion, I really don't see anywhere else for us to go. Now, 4 hourly EMA ribbons, we've retested them. We didn't even make it up to the short-term moving average. We tried to have a pump today, barely reset 4 hourly bearish momentum on the squeeze indicator, and we've started to head down. Now, bearish momentum is starting to pick up, bearish volume is starting to pick up, and we are dropping like a rock down to our last level of support. So we've basically hit my target. I'm going to remove this from the chart. I mean, we really need to hold this. I highlighted this before. If we come over to the daily, the only other time, like, JASMY's got quite a unique chart in the fact that it basically just has a rug pull, a bottom, a bounce, and another bottom. So we really only have 2 bottoms to work from, so I kind of have to focus on what we did previously when we bottomed. Now, for JASMY, we came up, we did basically, what was this, a 4x at the time? I think we did like a 3 or 4x now. Basically the same move as what we've got going on now. We came up, had a massive euphoric rally, came crashing back down and back tested the 786. We didn't exactly come down to the 786, we didn't perfectly fill it, but nonetheless, we bounced off the 786. What are we seeing now? We had a massive rally, and we are coming down. We're literally strongly heading down to the 786, much stronger than the last time where we had an impulse and a move down to our 786 fib. So really, we really need to hold this, but my gut feeling is kind of that we might not hold this, and there's a few reasons why. Bearish momentum indicators are all pointing to the downside. We're seeing an influx of bearish volume. Lower time frames, bears are still very much in control, and in the higher time frames, it is really just snowballing to the downside. There's another reason though. There's a main reason why it may not hold the 786, and it's got nothing to do with JASMY's chart. If we come over to Bitcoin, for the past week I've been talking about how we could be having this flush out down to 39.5. We've done that. We filled my target. So what happens now? We really need to hold this. You can see this is our ascending level of support, and sure, we've had fake outs below it before. We've had pretty big fake outs, but it never had a daily close below this trend line. Also, another reason why we can't really lose the 39.5 on the daily time frame. If we flatten this and draw the macro fib from low to the all-time high, you can see we presented with the 0.5 Fibonacci once again at 39.5. There is a lot of confluence and confidence in the market at 39.5 for Bitcoin, and that confidence is going to turn into fear, uncertainty, and doubt if we start closing dailies below 39.5. So Bitcoin, it's really not seeing the bounce that I wanted it to see today. We need to start turning around in the next day or so, otherwise bearish momentum is just going to keep on heading down and accruing, and we're going to fall through this. And what's going to happen if Bitcoin falls through its support? Well, in my opinion, I could draw from a lot of areas where it has support, but I really don't see too much support until we come down to between 31,000 and 28,000. And while that's not currently my most likely scenario, I don't like how the momentum indicators are pointing for a flush out to the downside for Bitcoin. We really need to have an impulse up. I currently, I've been saying I want to play JASMY from a position of strength, but I really need to see Bitcoin bounce before I can enter any altcoin trades. If Bitcoin's setting up for a flush out to the downside, a further flush that I wasn't predicting, because I'm still not predicting that. My scenario was, and I'm sticking with it, from when we were around here at 43, that we're going to come down to 39, have a bounce, and we're going to get out of here, and that will be done. If we break below 39.5, like I said, there's not much else for us to go. And if we look at JASMY, JASMY doesn't have anywhere else to go apart from sweeping the lows after we take out this 786 fib. Now, I could talk about this local high, I could draw more micro fibs, but I don't think we'd be coming to them. I think we'd be coming right down to sweep the lows, and that would be another 45% drop, which once again isn't my most likely scenario, but I do have to talk about these bearish scenarios when I do see them. JASMY's picking up bearish momentum. If we come over to the MFI and the RSI chart, the MFI, the money flow indicator, still has a lot of room to move to the downside. Previously, when we've bottomed on the MFI, we've bottomed at 14, we've bottomed at 12, this was a double bottom at 12 and 13, we've bottomed at 17, 11, 16, 12, and this was a dead cat bounce, so I really can't call that a bottom. But nonetheless, we're up here at 31. We only came down to 20, and as you can see, a lot of the time, in fact, every single time, JASMY has at least momentarily broken below the 30 before it goes on another rally. And what are we seeing right now? We're at 30 right now, so or 20 rather, so it's 20 on the money flow indicator, it's 30 on the RSI. So the MFI normally breaks below 20 before we find a bottom. We're up here at 30. The MFI and the RSI both respectively do have more room to move to the downside. Previously, when we've topped above 70 on the RSI and we've become oversold, we've come all the way down to 30. Where are we sitting at on the daily RSI right now? We're sitting at 35. So these are telling me we haven't found a bottom. And once again, I told you when we were up here at 3 cent that my gut feeling is we're going to have a flush out all the way to my price target at 2 cent. I was saying that I believe we're going to have a 37% drop. We've done that drop now. That price target is filled. But now what I'm seeing is the momentum to the downside really isn't subsiding. In fact, it's accumulating much harder than I think I could have expected or, very much wanted to see. So this isn't a video to scare you out of your JASMY. Personally, I don't hold JASMY either way, so it doesn't affect me too much whether you buy or sell at all. But nonetheless, if you've been watching me, you know I've been saying I do believe JASMY could have a short-term trade on the horizon, and I want to play it from a position of strength. I don't want to try and catch the falling knife because, my initial gut feeling was we're going to come down to 2.5. I could have said, okay, that's done, I'm buying at 2.5, but I said no. Momentum hasn't subsided. I think we're coming down to 2.3. At 2.3 I could have bought, but momentum was increasing. And what are we seeing right now? Momentum's increasing once again on the 4 hourly and the daily. So I'm really not liking too much what I see on JASMY right now. I really want to see a huge bounce in the next day or two max from the 0.019 region. Now bear in mind, what I'm looking for JASMY is really what I'm looking for Bitcoin. I have my eyes on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin starts taking out these lows and, closing dailies below 39,000, I have to assume that Bitcoin is going to go for an absolute tear to the downside in the short term. Bear in mind, I'm very macro bullish on Bitcoin. I'm a perma Bitcoin bull, but that doesn't mean that I can't be bearish in the short term for these short term moves when the chart is screaming at me that we need to move to the downside. So once again, JASMY really needs to hold this level. This is the absolute last level that we can hold. And I'm not liking how the momentum is picking up to the downside. So I really have to tell you these, bad news when I see them. I can't sugarcoat it, even though it's not what you want to hear. Once again, I say this in a lot of my videos. I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm not that type of YouTuber. I'm here to tell you what I see in the chart. And when I see bearish things in the chart, I've got to talk about them. It's not looking too good right now for JASMY. We need to hold 19 cent. If we don't hold 19 cent, we've got a 45% drop on our hands. So that is all I see. In the next day or so, I'm looking for a big bounce from the 19 cent. Keep your eyes on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin starts pushing daily closes below 39,000, I've got to assume that Jasmy's coming to sweep the lows. But before you throw rocks through my window, I'm saying until we close a daily below the 786, you know, I still can't flip bearish on Jasmy. Jasmy has still got a high and a pull down to the 786. I'm just not liking how the momentum is increasing when we should be seeing a reversal at these levels. So keep your eyes on what goes on Jasmy. 1.9 cent, we absolutely need to hold it. I don't see us coming down any lower and having a reversal. I see us back testing the lows or sweeping the lows and making new lows. That is all I've got for you for Jasmy. Keep your eyes on 1.9 cent. Not financial advice. Cowboy out. Peace.